The morning sun streamed through the blinds of my tiny apartment, cutting across the hardwood floor like golden ribbons. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at my reflection in the mirror, fidgeting with the collar of my button-up shirt. My name's Alex, and I've always had a secret. Not just a little quirk, I mean a side of me I've kept buried, even from Emma, my girlfriend. I've loved dressing as a girl since I was 15. Not for anyone else, not for attention, just for me. There's a strange comfort in it. The silk against my skin, the soft sway of skirts, the way makeup transforms not just my face but my confidence. But it's a dangerous passion, a thrill I've never dared to show anyone until recently. Work doesn't allow for experimentation. I'm in finance, a suit-and-tie world where even a hint of eccentricity could destroy your career. That's why my cross-dressing life exists in shadows, in the quiet hours when the city hums, but no one watches. Emma knows about my secret occasionally, when she walks in on me practicing eyeliner or adjusting my wig. She's supportive, even playful, but there's a tension there, an unspoken understanding that this world of mine is dangerous if exposed. It all started a week ago, the day my ex, Tyler, texted me. His words were venom-laced and clear. "You'll pay for leaving me." I froze, reading the message over and over. Tyler had always been obsessive, controlling, and cruel when things didn't go his way. I thought I'd escaped, moved on with Emma, built a peaceful life. But suddenly, the past reared its ugly head, threatening to turn my secret into a weapon against me. I glanced down at my phone, the screen black, and exhaled slowly. Emma, cheerful and unsuspecting, was making breakfast in the kitchen. The aroma of coffee and toast mixed with the faint floral scent from the candle she lit. It should have been comforting, but today it felt like a ticking clock. Every second reminded me that Tyler knew I had vulnerabilities he could exploit. "Morning, babe," Emma chirped, smiling as she placed a plate of scrambled eggs on the counter. Her hair was tied up in a loose ponytail, and her casual t-shirt made her glow in a simple, effortless way. "Morning," I replied, forcing a casual tone. I reached for the toast but hesitated. My fingers brushed against a small package I hadn't noticed earlier. A note from Tyler slipped under my apartment door. Panic coursed through me as I realized what it could be. Emma tilted her head, noticing my sudden tension. "Alex, you okay?" I smiled weakly, hiding the trembling in my hands. "Yeah, just tired, I guess." Inside, my thoughts raced. Tyler didn't just want revenge. He wanted to humiliate me, to expose the side of me I had worked so hard to keep hidden. The idea of him turning my passion into a weapon made my stomach twist. He knew about my cross-dressing because of a careless moment months ago. One photo, one glance, and suddenly he had leverage. I poured coffee into a mug, trying to focus on the mundane. But my mind was a whirlwind of fear, desire, and anticipation. There was a strange thrill mixed with the terror, a feeling I couldn't ignore. I realized, with a shiver, that Tyler's threat could force me deeper into the identity I sometimes hide, the one I've only explored in secret. Emma came closer, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "You've been distracted lately," she said softly. "Is everything okay with Tyler?" I froze for a second. Could I tell her the truth? Not yet. "Yeah, everything's fine," I lied. But the knot of anxiety in my chest tightened. Tyler was no longer just a memory. He was an imminent threat. After breakfast, I retreated to my bedroom under the guise of working from home. My wardrobe, a secret sanctuary of silk, lace, and carefully folded dresses, awaited. My heart raced as I opened it, fingers brushing across the fabric, feeling the soft textures and the familiar thrill. Today, I realized, might force me to embrace the persona I only dared to explore in solitude. I selected a navy blue dress, elegant but not over the top, a perfect balance of sophistication and allure. The soft material slipped over my skin, and I felt a rush of empowerment that contrasted sharply with my fear. My reflection stared back at me. Alex, vulnerable and exposed, and Alex, daring and irresistible. The mirror didn't lie. Today, these two selves would collide, and Tyler's threat loomed like a storm on the horizon. Emma knocked lightly on the door. "Lunch break soon?" she asked, voice sweet but tinged with curiosity. I nodded, hiding the mixture of excitement and dread. "Yeah, I'll be down in a bit." Alone again, I took a deep breath and reached for my makeup. Each brushstroke, each contour, each touch of color brought me closer to the perfect image, my armor, my mask, my temptation. I became acutely aware of my body, the way the dress hugged my curves, the way my posture changed. There was a vulnerability here, a thrill, and a tension that Tyler could turn against me if he ever saw it. And that's when the first knock came. Not at the door, but in my mind, the echo of Tyler's words, "You'll pay." The city outside hummed along its normal rhythm, oblivious to the storm brewing in my apartment. Emma, blissfully unaware, continued her morning routine. But inside, I felt a shiver of inevitability. Today, I realized, was the day my secret life, my passion, and my fear would collide. I glanced at the mirror again, tracing the line of my jaw, the curve of my lips, the delicate arch of my eyebrows. I was both Alex and the perfect girl Tyler would crave to control, a duality that exhilarated and terrified me in equal measure. And in that moment, I knew one thing for certain. Nothing would ever be the same again. The moment I closed my bedroom door behind me, the tension I'd been holding in my chest exploded into a mixture of fear and exhilaration. Tyler's threat had reignited something in me, a dangerous curiosity. What if I fully embraced the side of me I had always kept hidden? Could I become the perfect girl Tyler would obsess over, yet keep control over my secret? I paced across the room, glancing at my wardrobe like it was a treasure trove of possibilities. Anxiety gnawed at me. What if Tyler somehow found out? What if Emma walked in and saw me this way, fully dressed, fully vulnerable? Yet beneath the fear, a thrill surged, a forbidden excitement that made my heart pound. I realized that part of me had been waiting for this, a moment when danger and desire collided, and I could step fully into my feminine persona. I ran my fingers over the fabrics, feeling textures that always made me shiver with anticipation: silk, satin, lace. Each piece seemed to whisper promises, and I couldn't resist. Today, I told myself, was the day I wouldn't just hide behind shadows. Today, I would become someone completely new. I finally settled on a dress that felt daring, yet elegant, a soft pink fabric that hugged my chest and flared delicately over my hips. It was just the right balance of innocent and alluring, the kind that could enthrall someone like Tyler without making me feel exposed. Sliding it on, I marveled at the sensation, the silky smoothness, the subtle sway with every movement, the soft pressure against my skin that reminded me of how alive I felt in this body. Next came my heels. Black, modest yet sexy. As I stepped into them, I felt my posture shift automatically. There was a new confidence in the way I stood, a subtle sway in my walk. Each step reminded me that I was no longer just Alex. I was something else, someone both thrilling and vulnerable. The mirror became my confidant as I applied makeup, each brushstroke transforming me further. Foundation evened my skin. Blush brought warmth to my cheeks. Eyeliner and mascara widened my eyes into a more innocent, yet captivating expression. I applied a subtle pink lipstick, then paused to examine my reflection. The person staring back at me was both familiar and utterly foreign. I ran a hand through my wig, feeling the synthetic strands cascade over my shoulders. The final touch was the delicate jewelry, earrings that swung lightly, a bracelet that glinted with movement. I was complete, or so I thought. Just as I admired myself in the mirror, I heard a faint knock at the apartment door. My heart leapt into my throat. Could it be Tyler? No, he should know where I lived. Still, the fear sent a shiver down my spine. I realized that with each knock, each passing minute, I risked being caught, not just by Tyler, but by anyone who might see me like this. Alone, yet exposed, I moved toward the living room cautiously. Every sound, Emma humming in the kitchen, the distant rumble of traffic, the click of my own heels, felt amplified. My internal conflict twisted like a knife. Should I hide now, or fully embrace this side of me. The thrill of danger pulled me forward, while fear screamed at me to retreat. As the day wore on, I found myself practicing movements, experimenting with my voice, adjusting the dress to perfection. Each action made me feel more alive, more complete. Yet with every glance at the door, every imagined knock, anxiety lingered like a shadow. I was walking a tightrope between fear and ecstasy, knowing that one misstep could ruin everything. I thought about Tyler constantly, how he had once controlled me, how he had sought to humiliate me. Now, in a twisted way, I felt a power over him. If he ever saw me like this, he would see someone confident, alluring, and entirely in control. And yet, that same thought made my stomach twist because exposure meant vulnerability. Halfway through the afternoon, I heard the unmistakable sound of the intercom buzzing. My heart raced. Was it a delivery? A friend? Or Tyler? I froze, praying it wasn't him. My hands trembled slightly as I considered answering. The suspense was unbearable. I peeked through the peephole. Thankfully, it was just a package from a local boutique. Relief washed over me, but the adrenaline lingered, making me more aware of every curve, every movement in the mirror. I realized how much I was enjoying the thrill, the dangerous combination of being exposed and yet untouchable, hidden yet undeniable. By evening, the city outside had dimmed into a soft glow, but my apartment felt alive with tension. The thrill of being fully transformed, paired with the constant risk of discovery, left me on edge. I practiced walking in heels, sitting in a chair with perfect poise, adjusting my posture and my hair with obsessive care. Every reflection, every subtle movement, reminded me of the stakes. Emma would be home soon. Would she accept this side of me? Or would she recoil? And what if Tyler's revenge came sooner than I expected? The uncertainty gnawed at me, blending fear and excitement into a cocktail that made my pulse quicken. Just as I was adjusting the final strand of my wig, I heard the unmistakable sound of a key in the lock. My heart jumped. Emma? Or someone else? The room seemed to shrink, every shadow stretching like a predator. I held my breath, standing frozen in my heels, perfectly poised yet trembling inside. The door clicked open, and then footsteps. I couldn't see who it was yet, but I knew one thing for certain. The game had begun. And this time, there was no turning back. The key in the lock turned slowly, and my heart stopped. The footsteps echoed toward the living room, each one amplifying the tension in my chest. I stayed frozen in place, my heels pressing into the floor, hands trembling slightly as I clutched the edges of my dress. This was it. The moment where my secret, my carefully constructed persona, and my fears all collided. To my shock, it wasn't Emma who entered. It was Tyler. His eyes lit up with a mix of triumph and amusement as he took in my full transformation. Every detail I had meticulously arranged, the dress, the wig, the makeup, the heels, was now exposed to him. My pulse raced uncontrollably. "Wow," he whispered, stepping closer. "I didn't think you'd actually do it. But look at you, perfect." Panic surged through me, but there was also a strange, dark thrill. The fear of being discovered mingled with the rush of being seen exactly as I wanted, yet with someone dangerous. I realized I had been playing with fire, and Tyler was holding the match. I backed away slowly, heels clicking against the hardwood. My mind raced. Should I try to hide, change back, or confront the situation? Every instinct screamed at me to flee, yet part of me wanted to see how far this would go. Tyler circled me like a predator admiring his prey, and I felt a mixture of fear, vulnerability, and forbidden excitement. He reached out, lightly brushing a strand of wig from my face. The touch sent shivers down my spine. My breathing quickened, and I struggled to maintain my composure. The room felt smaller, the air thick with tension. Tyler's voice was low, teasing, and commanding. "You know, I could tell everyone who you really are. But I'm curious, can you be the perfect girl for me, just like this, without making a single mistake?" The challenge ignited something in me. I had trained myself for this. Every movement, every gesture, every subtle tone of my voice. I could meet his expectations, even if it terrified me. I realized that this was more than a game of control. It was a test of my own courage and self-expression. As I tried to steady my breathing, the intercom buzzed again. A delivery or someone else? Tyler glanced toward it, his grin widening. The unexpected sound was like a knife to my nerves, a reminder that any interruption could shatter the delicate balance. I felt trapped between exposure and poise, my secret hanging by a thread. I moved gracefully, each step calculated, trying to convey confidence while hiding my inner turmoil. My hands trembled slightly as I adjusted the hem of my dress and smoothed my wig. Tyler's eyes followed every motion, evaluating, measuring, testing. At one point, I accidentally brushed against a table, causing my bracelet to clink loudly. The sound echoed ominously. Tyler smirked, and I realized the symbolic weight of that moment. My dual identity, Alex and this perfect girl, was fragile. One wrong move, one slip, and the illusion could shatter. I straightened, took a deep breath, and faced him fully. "I'm ready," I whispered, voice trembling but clear. "I can do this." Tyler's reaction was subtle, almost approving. Yet, every moment was a tightrope walk between fear and exhilaration. I was entirely exposed emotionally, my secret, my desires, my vulnerability, but I also felt powerful. I had taken control of the situation, even as I let someone else witness it fully. Just as I thought I had gained some measure of control, a knock at the apartment door jolted me. My stomach lurched. Could it be Emma? Tyler's attention shifted slightly, and I felt the weight of my double life pressing down like never before. Every second stretched into eternity, every sound a potential threat. I had to make a choice. Flee, hide, or continue playing the role Tyler demanded. The suspense was suffocating, yet the thrill of the risk made me almost dizzy with anticipation. Tyler stepped closer again, his presence dominating the room. "Every move you make matters," he said softly. "One mistake, and everything changes." I felt my heartbeat in my throat, my palms sweating inside my gloves. My dress clung to my body as if emphasizing every line, every curve. I was aware of my reflection in the mirror, seeing both Alex and this new persona simultaneously. The duality was intoxicating and terrifying. Suddenly, the elevator dinged in the building. Footsteps approached the apartment from the hallway. I didn't know if it was a neighbor, Emma, or someone else entirely. Tyler looked at me, eyes sharp. "Don't move," he whispered. I froze, heels pressing into the floor, every nerve alert. The footsteps grew louder. The door rattled. My entire carefully constructed world teetered on the edge of disaster. In that instant, I realized that everything I had risked, my secret, my identity, my desires, was hanging by a thread. The suspense was unbearable, and the story left suspended in the most intense moment yet. The door rattled again, louder this time, and I felt my chest tighten. Every muscle in my body was frozen, my heels pressing painfully into the floor. Tyler's presence loomed beside me like a shadow I couldn't escape. My reflection in the mirror caught my eye, Alex, transformed completely into the girl Tyler had envisioned, yet still holding the weight of my secret life. I could hear the faint sound of a key turning in the lock. My stomach sank. The possibility that Emma had returned early, or that a neighbor had come by, kept my mind racing. My hands trembled slightly as I clutched the edges of my dress, the silk smooth beneath my fingers, reminding me of the persona I had carefully created. Tyler's gaze remained fixed on me, calm and evaluating. "Relax," he whispered, his voice low, almost teasing. "This is your moment. But remember, one wrong move." He didn't finish the sentence, letting the threat hang in the air like a knife poised over my head. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to steady my breathing. I can do this," I whispered, more to myself than to him. My voice wavered, but there was determination underneath it. I had invested so much into this transformation, every detail of makeup, outfit, and posture, and I wasn't ready to let it collapse. The elevator dinged again, and footsteps approached the apartment. My heart pounded in sync with each tap against the floor. Tyler's eyes flicked toward the door, then back to me. "Stay calm. No sudden moves," he instructed. I pressed my back lightly against the wall, trying to make myself small while keeping my composure. I felt exposed, vulnerable, and terrified, but also exhilarated. There was a strange thrill in being so fully seen, even if the consequences were unknown. The doorknob rattled. Someone was definitely outside. My mind raced through every scenario. What if it was Emma? What if she discovered Tyler and me like this? What if my secret life was revealed to someone else entirely? Each thought made my heart hammer harder. Tyler took a step closer, brushing a strand of wig from my face. The simple gesture sent shivers down my spine. "Whatever happens," he murmured, "just remember, you're perfect. Right now, this is exactly who you need to be." I felt a strange mix of pride and terror. Pride that I had pulled off the transformation, terror that it could all be undone in a single instant. I glanced at the mirror again, Alex and the perfect girl coexisting in the same reflection. The duality of my identity had never felt more real, more precarious. Suddenly, a voice called out from the other side of the door. My blood ran cold. It was Emma. "Alex? Are you there?" The familiarity of her voice twisted the knife of tension even deeper. Tyler's eyes met mine, unreadable. "Don't panic," he said softly. But I could feel the impossibility of the situation pressing in. One wrong word, one wrong movement, and everything I had built, the persona, the secret, the thrill, could unravel in seconds. I froze, my hands clutching the fabric of my dress, heels digging into the floor. Emma's voice grew slightly louder, more insistent. "Alex, I know you're in there. Open up." The apartment door shook slightly as someone attempted to turn the handle. My heart raced uncontrollably. I was trapped between two worlds, the girl I had become for Tyler and the life I still had with Emma. The fear of exposure, the thrill of being caught, and the tension between these identities wrapped around me like chains. Tyler's hand brushed my arm, a subtle reminder to stay composed. I took a deep, steadying breath, trying to calm the storm in my chest. I can't let her see me like this," I whispered to myself, the words barely audible. The doorknob rattled one final time, then stopped. Silence followed, a deafening, suffocating pause. My entire body tensed, every nerve alert. I didn't know what would happen next. Would Emma open the door? Would Tyler's plan succeed? Or would my carefully maintained secret crumble, exposing everything I had hidden? In that moment, everything hung by a thread. My reflection stared back at me, a perfect, trembling girl caught between fear and desire. The story paused, suspended in the most unbearable tension, leaving every question unanswered. Would I survive this encounter unscathed? Would my secret life be exposed? Or had I crossed a line from which there was no return? The camera lingers on my wide, fearful eyes, the perfect wig slightly askew, my dress flawless yet fragile, and the faint sound of footsteps beyond the door. The screen fades to black, leaving viewers with a single, haunting thought.